المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت بقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته صلوات إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. There is a ziyarat of Ziarat Al-Nahiya. Imam Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman addressing his grandfather Imam Hussein alayhi salam, which it is by itself is masa'ib from the beginning to the end. And how Imam Zaman Atulullah Ta'ala Faraj al-Sharif, he sees what is happening in Karbala. He sees what they do to his grandfather, and he describes it and he says salam to his grandfather Imam Hussein alayhi salam. I have picked some portion of it inshallah, that it will be by itself ziyarah, that we are visiting Imam Hussein alayhi salam with this ziyarah inshallah, and also by itself is a maqsad. But try to put yourself in that mindset of seeing what is happening to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. On a day, no water for 3 days, weak, amongst 30,000 soldiers. See what is the feeling. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu ala ibn Jannat al-Mawa. Peace be upon the son of the garden of refuge. Assalamu ala ibn Zamzam wa Safa. Peace be upon the son of Zamzam and Safa. Assalamu ala al-Murammala bil-Dima. Peace be upon him who was saturated in his blood. Assalamu ala mahtuk al-Khibar. Peace be upon him whose tents were violated. Assalamu ala khamis ashab al-Kisa. Peace be upon the fifth of the people of the globe. Assalamu ala gharib al-ghuraba. Peace be upon the loneliest of the lonely. Assalamu ala shaheed al-shuhada. Peace be upon the greatest murderer of all murderers. Assalamu ala qatil al-adaya. Peace be upon him who was slain by the individuals of illegitimate birth. Assalamu ala sakin Karbala. Peace be upon the one who is at rest in Karbala. Assalamu ala man bakatuhu malaikatu as-sama. Peace be upon the one for whom the heavenly angels wept. Assalamu ala man dhurriyatahu al-azkiya. Peace be upon the one whose descendants are the pure. Assalamu ala Ya'sub al-Din. Peace be upon the chief of the religion. Assalamu ala Manazil al-Barahin. Peace be upon the places of the divine proofs. Assalamu ala al-A'immat al-Sadat. Peace be upon the Imams, the master of mankind. Assalamu ala al-Jiyub al-Mudarrajat. Peace be upon the blood-stained chest. Assalamu ala al-Shifah al-Dhabilat. Peace be upon the perished lips. Assalamu ala al-Nufus al-Mustalamat. Peace be upon the plucked souls. Assalamu ala al-Arwah al-Mukhtalasat. Peace be upon the snatched spirits. Assalamu ala al-Ajsad al-Aliyat. Peace be upon the stripped corpses. Assalamu ala al-Jusum al-Shahidat. Peace be upon the pallid bodies. Assalamu ala al-Dima al-Sa'ilat. Peace be upon the gushing blood. Assalamu ala al-A'dha' al-Muqatta'at. Peace be upon the dismembered limbs. Assalamu ala al-Ru'us al-Mushalat. Peace be upon the heads raised upon lenses. Assalamu ala al-Niswat al-Barizat. Peace be upon the woman forcefully exposed. Assalamu ala hujjat Rabbil Alameen. Peace be upon the proof of the Lords of the worlds. Assalamu alayka wa ala abaika al-Tahireen. Peace be upon you and upon your pure ancestors. Assalamu alayka wa ala abnaika al-Mustashhadeen. Peace be upon you and upon your murdered sons. Assalamu alayka wa ala dhurriyyatika al-Nasirin. Peace be upon you and upon your children who aided. Assalamu alayka wa ala al-malaikati al-mudaji'in. Peace be upon you and upon the accompanying angels. Assalamu ala al-qatil al-madlum. Peace be upon you. Peace be upon the slave and the oppressed one. Assalamu ala akhihi al-masmoom. Peace be upon his poisoned brother Imam al-Hasan. Assalamu ala Ali al-Kabir. Peace be upon Ali the elder, Ali al-Akbar. Assalamu ala al-Radhi. Peace be upon the suckling infant. Assalamu ala al-Abdan al-Saliba. Peace be upon the plundered bodies. Assalamu ala al-Atrat al-Qariba. Peace be upon the family and children who were nearby the place of martyrdom, who were without support among strangers. Assalamu ala al-Mujaddadeen fil falawat. Peace be upon the mangled corpses in the desert. Assalamu ala al-Nazihin ala al-Awtan. Peace be upon those who were left far from their homeland. Assalamu ala al-Madfunin bila akfar. Peace be upon those who were buried without shrouds. Assalamu ala al-Ru'us al-Mufarraqat ala al-Abdan. Peace be upon the heads severed from the bodies. Assalamu ala al-Muhtasib al-Sabir. Peace be upon the burdened, patient one. Assalamu ala al-Madlum bila nasir. Peace be upon the oppressed one who was without a helper. Assalamu ala sakin al-Turbat al-Zakiyah. Peace be upon the inhabitant of the purified soul. Assalamu ala sahib al-Qubbat al-Samiyah. Peace be upon the possessor of the lofty dome. Assalamu ala man tahharahu al-Jadid. Peace be upon him whom the Almighty purified. Assalamu ala man iftakhara bihi Jibreel. Peace be upon him of whom Jibreel was proud. Assalamu ala man naghahu fil mahdi Mikail. Peace be upon upon the one to whom Mikael spoke tenderly in the cradle. As-salamu ala man nukithat dhimmatuh. Peace be upon the one whose pact was broken. As-salamu ala man hutikat hurmatuh. Peace be upon the one whose right and dignity were violated. As-salamu ala man uriqa bil-dhulmi damuh. Peace be upon the one whose blood was shed unjustly. As-salamu ala al-mughassili bidam al-jirah. Peace be upon the one who was bathed in the blood of his wounds. As-salamu ala al-mudarra'i bikasat al-rimah. Peace be upon the one who tasted the spears raining down over his body. As-salamu ala al-mudham al-mustabah. Peace be upon the one who against whom people came together and made lawful the shedding of his blood. As-salamu ala al-manhur fil wara. Peace be upon the one who slaughtered in public. As-salamu ala man dafanahu ahlu dhura. Peace be upon the one who was buried by the strangers from nearby village. As-salamu ala al-maqtu' al-wateen. Peace be upon the one whose irta was severe. As-salamu ala muhami bila mu'in. Peace be upon the defender who had no helper. As-salamu ala al-shayb al-khatib. Peace be upon the gray hair that was dyed with blood. As-salamu peace be upon the cheek that struck the dust. As-salamu ala al-badan al-salim. Peace be upon the butchered body. As-salamu ala al-thagr al-maghru'a bil-qadim. Peace be upon the front teeth that were beaten with a rod. As-salamu ala al-ras al-marfu'. Peace be upon the head raised upon lands. السلام على الأجسام العارية عارية في الفلوات تنحشها الذئاب العاديات وتختلف إليها السباع الضاريات. Peace be upon the unclothed corpse in the desert, beaten by wild wolves, and around whom the beast of prey prowled. السلام عليك يا مولاي وعلى الملائكة المرفرفين حول قبتك. Peace be upon you, O my Master, and the angels who fluttered around your dome. Al-Hafina biturbatik, surrounded your grave, circumambulate your courtyard, and come from your visitation. السلام عليك فاني فإني قصدت إليك ورجوت الفوز لديك. Peace be upon you indeed. I intended your visitation, and I am hopeful of your achieving the prosperity that is with you. Assalamu alayka salam arifin bihurmatik, al-mukhlis mukhlis fi wilayatik, al-mutaqarribu ila Allah bimahabbatik, al-bari' min a'da'ik. Salutation from he who recognizes your sanctity. It is a sincere believing in your guardianship, seeks nearness to Allah through your love, and is a love from your enemy. Salama min qalban qalbahu bimusabika maghrur. Salutation from the one whose heart is wounded due to the tribulation you have suffered, and whose tears flow in your remembrance. Salam al-mafju' al-hazin al-wali al-mustaqim. Salutation from the one who is distressed, grieved, stricken, distracted, and yielding. Salam man law kana ma'aka bil-tufuf, lawaqaka binafsihi hadda as-suyuf, wa badala hashashatahu dunaka lil-hutuf. Salutation from the one who had he been present with you in the plain of Karbala, would have shielded you from the sharpness of the swords with his body. and sacrificed his last breath for you. وجاهد بين يديك ونصرك على من بغى عليك وفداك بروحه وجسده وماله وولده. Would have struggled beside you, helped you against the aggressors, and redeemed you with his soul, body, wealth, and children. وَرُوحُهُ لِرُوحِكَ فِدَاءً. And I was the one saying salutation from the one whose soul is sacrificed for you, O Allah Hussein. وَأَهْلُهُ لِأَهْلِكَ وِقَاءً. And whose family is a shield for yours. فَلَئِنْ أَخَّرَتْ لِلدُّهُورِ وَعَاقَنِي عَنْ نَصْرِكَ الْمَقْدُورِ. But as I have been hindered by the course of time, and as Allah's decree has prevented me from helping you, وَلَمْ أَكُنْ لِمَنْ حَارَبَكَ مُحَارِبًا وَلِمَنْ نَصَرَ لَكَ الْعَدَاوَةَ مُنَاصِبًا. And as I could not fight those who fought you, and was not able to show hostility to those who showed hostility to you, فَلَأَنْدُبَنَّكَ صَبَاحًا وَمَسَاءً وَلَأَبْكِيَنَّ لَكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوعِ دَمًا حَسْرَةً عَلَيْكَ وَتَأَسُّفًا عَلَى مَا دَهَاكَ وَتَلَهُّفًا حَتَّى أَمُوتَ بِلَوْعَةِ الْمَصَابِ وَغُصَّةِ الْاِكْتِيَاءِ. I will therefore lament you morning and evening, and will weep blood in place of tears out of my anguish for you, and my sorrow for all that befell you, until I met death from the pain of the catastrophe and the choking grief. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة. I bear witness that you certainly established prayer, gave alms, وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر والعدوان. You enjoined good, forbade evil and transgression. فجاهدتهم بعد الإيعاظ. Therefore you resisted them after advising them and stressing over divine proofs and against them. فَنَكَثُوا ذِمَامَكَ وَبَيْعَتَكَ. However, the enemy, they violated your divine rights and oath. وَأَسْخَطُوا رَبَّكَ وَجَدَّكَ. Angered your Lord and your grandfather. وَبَدَأُوكَ بِالْحَرْبِ. And initiated battle against you. فَثَبَّتَ لِلْطَعْنِ وَالضَّرْبِ. Hence you stood firm to spear and strike. وطعنت جنود الفجار واقتحمت قصد العوبار. Pulverized the soldier of transgressor and stormed into the dust of the battle. مجادلا بذي الفقار كأنك علي المختار. Fighting with Zulfaqar as if you were Ali the chosen one. فلما رأوك ثابت الجاش غير خائف ولا خاش. So when they saw you firm, fearless and courageous, لا خاشا نصبوا لك غوائل مكرهم وقاتلوك بكيدهم وشرهم. They set up their most malicious deception against you and fought you with their deceit and viciousness. وأمر العين جنوده فمنعوك الماء ورودا. They occurred command. The cursed one, Umar ibn Sa'd, commanded his soldier, and thus they prevented you from reaching or receiving water. وَنَاجَزُوكَ الْقِتَالِ وَعَاجِلُوكَ النِّزَالِ. They rush to engage you in combat, descend swiftly upon you. وَرَشَقُوكَ بِالسِّهَامِ الْتِيَا نِبَالِ. Showering you with arrows and stones. Showering you with arrows and stones. وَبَسَطُوا إِلَيْكَ أَكُفَّ الْإِصْطِنَامِ. And moving toward you with approving hands. وَلَمْ يَرَوْا لَكَ ذِمًّا وَلَا رَاقَبُوا فِيكَ أَثَمًا فِي قَتْلِهِمْ أَوْلِيَاءَكَ وَنَحْبِهِمْ رِحَالَكَ. Neither they respect your right, nor retribution for slaying you, companion and plundering your belongings. وأنت مقدم في الحضارات ومحتمل للأذيات. You were in the front line of the storm of battle, enduring afflictions. وحالوا بينك وبين الرواح, prevented you from taking any repose. ولم يبق لك ناصرا, and you had no helper remaining. وأنت محتسب صابر, you were patient. تذب عن نسوتك وأولادك, defending your women and children. حتى نكسوك عن جوادك, until they caused you to fall from your horse. فأويت إلى الأرض جريحا, you fell to the ground wounded. تطوك الخيول بحظافرها, horses trampled you with their hooves. وتعلوك الطغاة بباطلها, tyrants raised their swords against you. قد رشح للموت جبينك, the sweat of death appears on your forehead. واختلف بالانقباض والانبساط شمالك ويمينك, and you continually clench and unclench your hands. تدبر طرفا خفيا إلى رحلك وبيتك, secretly gazing upon your caravan and tent. وقد شغلت بنفسك عن ولدك وأهاليك, while trapped by yourself away from your children and family. وأسرع فرسك شاردا إلى خيامك قاصدا محمحما باكيا, your horse will جناح distractedly go toward your camp, knighting and crying. فلما رأينا النساء جوادك مخزيا, when the woman saw your horse distraught. ونظرنا سرجك عليهم ملويا, and absorbed your saddle contracted. برزنا من الخدور, they came from the tent. ناشرات الشعور, shaping their hair. على الخدود العاطمات الوجوه الصافرة, striking their now unveiled cheeks. وبالعوين داعيات, calling you by lamenting and wailing. وبعد العز مذللات, being humiliated after being honored. وإلى مصرعك مبادرات, hastening to where you lay wounded. والشمر جالس على صدرك, at that time Shem was sitting on your chest. ومولع سيفه على نحرك, quenching his sword with the blood of your throat. قابضا على شيبتك بيده, grabbing your beard with his hand. ذابحا لك بمهندل, as he slew you with his sword. قد سكنت حواسك, your facility faded. وخفيت أنفاسك, your breath became shallow and ceased. يا حسين, يا حسين, يا حسين. ورفع على القناة رأسه, and your head was raised onto a spear. وسبي أهلك كالعبيد, your family were captured like slaves. وسبوا في الحديد فوق أقطاب المضيات, pulled with iron chain atop camels. أيديهم مغلولة إلى الأعناق, with their hand chained to their neck. يطاف بهم الأسواق, and were paraded around the market. فويل للعطاء الفساق, woe to the wicked transgressors. لقد قتلوا بقتلك الإسلام, certainly by killing you they have killed Islam. وعبدوا الصلاة والصيام, وتفضوا السنن والأحكام. مات أبا حسين, يا 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 حسين, Hussein,